Conclusion inevitable.
It was a jump to conclusions, Matt.
My conclusion was that this idea was not a practical deterrent.
My only conclusion can be that it was a Sith Lord.
In conclusion.
Hello there, folks. Welcome back to In Conclusion, the only movie podcast that confesses their deepest, darkest secrets at the beginning of the episode. I'm Dan O'Keefe, and I woke up at 6:20 to hear the announcement for when a Chicago radio station would be switching over to Christmas music. And joining me, as always, is Anna Otto. Anna, what's your biggest secret?
I like to watch Pokemon unboxings live on TikTok.
That's not a secret. That's a confession to a crime.
I don't have a good secret. I
was trying to set you up to say that. So
okay, good. Just making sure. I was like, my nails are usually fake. That's kind of a secret, I guess. Except usually when people compliment me on them, I go, thanks, they're fake. So that's where I'm at.
That's the Midwestern way to do it. Like, thanks, I got these pants at Kohl's for $17.
Yeah, literally. One time, the lady who was serving us at the counter at Portillo's was like, I love your nails, girl. And I was like, thank you. They're fake. She's like, literally don't tell people that. And I was like, oh, whoops.
Some thoughts
That's
are
true.
inside thoughts.
She's like, I would have thought they were from a salon. I was like, thank you. They're not. They're from Walgreens. Like,
So aside from your fake nails, how are you?
Dan, I'm kind of mad at you.
Okay.
I understand that I put you through hell all of Halloween.
Uh-huh.
I feel like I paid my penance with this movie.
I had never seen this.
Me neither.
I am in the same boat with you.
Dan, it was really sad.
I know. You put me through physical hell. I'm putting us through emotional hell.
I will say, though, I was really excited. I love that 70s show. So Kurtwood Smith, his name came up on the screen, and I went, Red Foreman! And Gage was like, what? And I was like, that's him. He's like, I don't know. So I had him Google it, and he was like, yeah, that's Red. And I was like, I know.
Well, you mean he didn't recognize him by immediately when he showed up in the first scene of the movie?
No, I was looking at the credits at the beginning, so this was before he had appeared. Once he appeared on screen, we were like, yeah, Red. I love that 70s show. They want to reboot it.
They're doing a version of it where he and Kitty are coming back.
Yeah, nobody else is coming back, though, right?
I don't think so. I think it's going to be in the 90s.
I mean, I guess everybody could come back except for Hyde, because the actor is a douche canoe.
Yes.
Which is sad, because Hyde was my favorite character, but, you know, separate the art from the artist. The artist is a piece of poo-poo.
I have to congratulate my younger self. Give me a hearty pat on the back. Never liked Hyde. Hyde and Jackie were both my least favorite.
Oh my god, no! The season where they dated was my everything, and I really liked Hyde. I'm really sad now. I guess I'm just in the mood to talk about this movie.
Speaking of sad, the movie
At least on the bright side, nothing that happened in this movie is a reflection of the actors in real life, I hope.
I hope. I mean, maybe that when they were young men, they all bonded together. That'd be a good reflection.
I hope they didn't do anything that then got covered up by the Scientologist church, but that's fine. Anyway.
You never know. Anyway, the movie we're talking about today is Dead Poet Society, directed by Peter Weir, written by Tom Schulman, produced by Stephen Haft, Paul Younger-Witt, and Tony Thomas, starring Robin Williams, Robert Sean Leonard, Ethan Hawke, Josh Charles, Gail Hansen, Norman Lloyd, and Kurtwood Smith, among others.
Ethan Hawke looks exactly the same.
Yeah, he didn't change much.
Just his hair.
He's got more defined features now. Less baby face.
He lost some baby fat. But other than that, I actually recognized him. I was like, that's Ethan Hawke. And then a couple times I did have some face blindness. And I went, is that Ethan Hawke? And Gage went, no. And I went, oh, wait. Then I recalibrated and things were okay.
Produced by Touchstone Pictures, distributed by Buena Vista Pictures Distribution, Disney.
Ooh.
Released on June 2nd, 1989 with a budget of $16.4 million. It made $235.9 million at the box office.
That feels like a low budget.
I mean, these are the kind of movies they don't make anymore. The low to mid budget adult drama.
Most of that money probably went to the actors, considering there were like 3 total sets, and you honestly could have shot a lot of them. Like the school obviously is one set, and then the house, you could literally shoot the same thing in the same house, or the different scenes in the same house but from different angles, and nobody would ever know. So. And
they didn't have to build any sets either. These were all shot on location in Delaware, I believe.
Yeah.
On Rotten Tomatoes, it's got a 85% approval rating.
Feels high.
Affecting performances from the young cast and a genuinely inspirational turn from Robin Williams grant Peter Weir's prep school drama top honors, reads the critical consensus. Roger Ebert, however...
Scathing.
2 stars out of 4. He criticized Robin Williams for spoiling an otherwise credible dramatic performance by occasionally veering into his onstage comedian's persona.
What?
And he lamented that for a movie set in the 50s, there was no mention of the Beat Generation writers. He described the film as a poorly constructed collection of pious platitudes. The movie pays lip service to qualities and values that, on the evidence of the screenplay itself, it is cheerfully willing to abandon.
That feels mean for no reason.
It does feel needlessly harsh.
I didn't have a, woo, this is the best time of my life, this is my favorite movie sort of time with it. But I didn't hate it. And I also thought, it's one of Robin Williams' most revered performances, I would think.
Mm-hmm. He was nominated for Best Actor, which I think was the wrong category to nominate him in, but whatever. And then
what do you mean?
He was supporting actor.
Oh, yeah, because Cheekbones was the lead.
Yeah, the guy from House.
Yeah, I called him Cheekbones because I didn't know his name.
I called him the guy from House. Robert Sean Leonard is the actor's name.
His cheekbones were literally so high, they were practically in his forehead. I was shook. He was a good-looking little... that sounds weird. That
Say
sounded
it.
weird
Finish
out
the
loud.
sentence.
No. He was a handsome young man. He had a very striking features.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I don't know what this guy looks like as an adult, but I want to see if those cheekbones are still looking just as sharp today.
Not quite.
No, is he looking like...
No, he looks fine. He just looks like an older version of himself. It's not quite as sharp.
I'll do a Google. What's his name again? Robert?
Yeah, Robert Sean Leonard. The movie was also nominated for Best Picture, Best Director, and it won Best Original Screenplay.
Update, this guy just looks like a dad.
Right?
He literally looks like the dad of someone I went to high school with.
Yeah, he looks like a guy that lives down the street from you.
Yeah, hey, Bob, mowing the lawn again? That's the vibe I'm getting.
Yeah.
I saw Goody Dan talking
So Tom
with the devil.
Shulman, the writer of the movie,
Ooh.
in the same year that he wrote Dead Poet Society, he also wrote Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
I mean, gotta lighten it up,
And the rest of his films are What About Bob with Richard Dreyfuss and Bill Murray. And the only other one I've heard of is Me, Myself, and Irene. He didn't write. He was only the executive producer of it. He did not have a illustrious screenwriting career, it seems. He's not written anything in what is now 17 years. The Ray Romano film Welcome to Mooseport was his last film.
I'm just gonna say he took the money from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and Dead Poet Society, and he was like, chef's kiss. Mwah. I really killed it. I'm done.
Mm-hmm. Do you know that Honey, I Shrunk the Kids was originally written as a drama?
How?
I don't know, but he rewrote it as a comedy, so good job.
Yeah, I mean, Rick Moranis is in it, so obviously it's going to be funny, right? Like, how and I'm just trying to fathom a way that could be serious, ever. The idea of shrinking children is humorous to begin with.
The kids keep shrinking until they die.
Disappear.
Something like that.
Okay, that's a little sad.
Only a little?
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids to death. Like,
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Let's go on vacation. Let's get into it.
let's do it.
Let us sob ourselves to sleep.
Can't wait.
So it is autumn of 1959, and it makes me want to move to Vermont.
The leave peeping, I'm sure.
It is the beginning of a new school year at Welton Academy, an elite all-male prep school in Vermont. And
Beautiful season out there.
Ethan Hawke, shy Todd Anderson, is beginning his junior year.
Had like 5 lines.
Yeah, but he stared a lot.
I know. I was like, he's arguably the most famous of all the teenagers, right?
Not arguably, he's most definitely the most famous of all the teenagers.
And he, I mean, based off of this movie, I would have thought that he would, like, I would have thought Cheekbones would have been the famous one.
Mm-hmm.
Full offense, Cheekbones, you let me down.
So he is assigned Neil Perry, Cheekbones, as his roommate, and he meets the group of friends. Richard Cameron, Stephen Meeks, Gerard Pitts, Charlie Dalton, and I'm saving the best name for last.
Oh, no.
Knox Overstreet.
Literally, I kept calling him Corridor Overstreet.
He sounds, his name sounds like the word lacrosse.
What? Knox Overstreet, I guess.
It doesn't actually sound, but it has the same emotion. I feel when I hear the word lacrosse, I hear Knox Overstreet in my heart.
The only difference is one of those is painfully white.
And the other one is lacrosse?
Yeah, that's a Native American word.
The word, but...
Maybe it's French.
My metaphor isn't going too well here.
Listen, the cities in Wisconsin all have very colorful names.
I'm talking about the sport.
I don't know.
The sport played by a bunch of white guys.
The sport originated as a native sport. Look it up.
I know!
Happy November.
What?
It's Native American History Month.
Oh, I didn't know that. Thank you for teaching me something new.
Boom, Dan, you learned today, son.
So, these group of friends, they have their first day of class, and there's a new English teacher in school. The old English teacher either died or retired, I don't remember.
Literally went back to the crypt since every other teacher is 1,000 years old.
They're introduced to the new, young, hip English teacher, a former student of this boarding school, John Keating, a former Rhodes Scholar. He wants the children to make their lives extraordinary. He has them read this book about how to judge poetry on a scale, and then he's like, rip it out. Rip it out. So he's an unorthodox teacher.
It was a little much for me, man. It was a little intense. I honestly would have been the same with the hesitancy to rip pages out of my book. I've been like, I paid $200 for this. I don't want to rip the pages out.
It's 1959. You paid 50 cents for that book.
Oh, you're right, and I was happy to do it.
So his whole thing is he wants these kids to seize the day, carpe diem, and that is his guiding motto.
Classic scene right out of the way.
This really bookends. The movie really bookends itself with the classic scenes.
It does. Why? Who decided the most iconic scenes of this movie were going to be at the beginning and the end? That's it.
Tom, the guy who wrote it.
Wow, good job, Tom.
Tom
He really
Schulman.
If this was an album, those were the singles he picked, you know? Mm-hmm. He really did a good job.
Unorthodox album or organization, though.
To put your singles at the beginning.
First and last? Normally you want them 3, 4, 5.
Oh, really?
I mean, now it doesn't matter because nobody listens to albums in order or
Oh, sometimes I do. Like, if somebody drops an anticipated album, I listen to that shit. Like, when Lil Nas X dropped his album, I listened to it.
Is that the whole story?
Yeah, it was good. I liked it.
It just sounded like you had so much more to go with, and then it ended. It was like, I listened to the album.
That's
That's
it.
good.
I was
That's
in the
it.
car. Gage and I were driving to rehearsal one day. Like,
World build. I need more.
we were in the car. We were on our way to Oconomowoc.
Also, Cheekbones, his dad is grumpy and domineering and Red Foreman.
Please. Yes, thank you.
He makes him drop out of working on the yearbook. He doesn't want him to be an actor. He wants him to focus on his studies, focus on his schoolwork.
Your kid could be an actor and you're still focusing on the studies. I mean, my mom, I wanted to be an actress and she still was like, that's fine, but you don't get to do theater if your grades suck. So
Yeah, that's basically how it was with everybody that I knew in theater in high
Yeah.
school. It was they did
it was
it,
just like,
and a lot of them were really smart.
oh yeah. I mean, I can't even tell you, like Veronica, our friend Veronica was the valedictorian in the College of Communications theater major.
Same with
I think AJ was.
Magoon too.
Yeah. And a couple years before us, like it a lot of times the theater people, they're smart cookies.
It's because they got that memorization down.
They got something. They all think we're walking around here with photographic memories. When could I just get a crumb of a photographic memory? Please forget everything.
So after the first day of class, after the Carpe Diem, they are in the cafeteria looking over the old yearbook, and they see that Mr. Keating, John Keating, he was in a club called the Dead Poets Society.
Ominous. Truly ominous.
And they're like, what that?
I have something to say, controversial opinion, because we're gonna shortly get into the thing where Robin Williams tells them what the Dead Poet Society is.
Uh-huh.
I know that this movie is, how do I put this? Did this movie feel slightly romantic to you?
Yes.
Not like in a love way, but like in a platonic friendship way, and also like in a
love way?
like in the way they were talking.
Yes. Oh,
Like
my
everything-
gosh. You could, if you flip around like 3 lines in this movie, it is a romance.
I'm so glad you agree with me, because I said to Gage, I was like, why do I feel like somebody's gonna kiss? Like I don't know who, I don't know when, I don't know where, but it feels to me like a kiss might be on the horizon.
On Letterboxd, the overarching theme of the reviews, the 4th highest rated review with 1,800 likes. This is a film about being gay.
Oh my god, thank you. I was like, I don't mean to sound like a bad person. I mean this in the most harmless way possible, but this is the gayest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, no, I feel that too.
And I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I
Absolutely not.
genuinely mean it in a, this is very...
This is like romantic
This is giving
love
me Call Me
between
by
2
Your
men.
Name.
Yeah.
This is giving me Moonlight. This is giving me Brokeback Mountain. This is giving me Lil Nas X's album. Like,
It is. Yeah.
I loved it. I loved every second of it. But it was gay.
So, Mr. Keating tells him what the Dead Poets Society was. It was a secret club where they met in, I'm going to say, Native American cave.
Thank you. A cave. They met
in
a
a
cave.
cave, and they would recite poetry and get life lessons and all that stuff, and just have a general, enhancing their life with literature. And I'm like, man, this is guys being dudes.
I loved. That's what we mean when we say boys being boys.
Yeah.
Reading poetry in a cave, smoking a pipe with your friends.
Figuring out
Nowadays,
how to
it probably would be vaping.
Figuring out how to romance. It's everything you want. They decide, you know what? Let's start up the club. So Neil convinces everybody to go at midnight to go to the
One more
cave.
thing to say. The line that stuck with me that I can't get out of my head that I think was one of the most, dare I say, sexual,
Okay.
was when Robin Williams was like, the words were dripping from our tongues like honey. I was like, I am not thinking what I thought I was going to think going into. I thought it was going to be boring, dry, boring, dry. I literally said to Gage, I thought the saddest part of this movie was that Robin Williams gets fired. Okay, well, we learned.
You thought that was the saddest part of the movie?
I thought that was the plot. I thought they all
beforehand.
Gets
okay.
fired. Yeah. No, Dan. But, like, I'm watching this, and then he says that line. I'm like, this is not what I thought it was. Something's going on here. This is... Maybe it's true what they say. Maybe in the right tones, poetry is, as romantic as people make it out to be.
Mm-hmm. The outlook wasn't bright for the Mudville Nine
that is day. Not a sexy poem, Dan.
The score stood 4-2 with but one more to play. I
have never been less turned on than when I hear that poem, Dan.
Also, at one point, Keating has the kids do the improv walk around, discover your walk exercise.
Oh my God, it was literally a theater class.
And I was having Vietnam flashbacks to doing that, and I was like, everybody do a silly walk.
Gage and I were literally yelling, "You are a plant. Feel your core rooted to the ground. Walk as though you are trying to remove that core. Stretch to the sun." We were like...
The next poetry class, Mr. Keating has the boys stand on their desks to see the world from a different perspective. Mm-hmm. And he assigns them to write an original poem to bring to next class. Mm-hmm. And some of them are like, oh yeah, cool, that'll be fun. And then Todd is frightened, and Keating knows he's frightened. And he calls him out in front of class saying, "This shit scares Todd, doesn't it?"
Poor Ethan.
And Todd just looks on with his puppy dog eyes.
His little sad eyes and his little sad bowl hair. Listen, I know that it was supposed to be the 50s, but those haircuts, when did this movie come out?
1989.
Yeah, that hair was direct from the late 80s, early 90s. Full stop.
The next... Keating is at dinner with other teachers, and the Latin teacher is like, "You're taking a big risk, making them think that they're artists." He's like,
"Oh my God!" I went on such a rant with Gage.
Uh-huh.
I was like, "Dude, nobody likes the teachers who don't encourage. You always think back to the teachers who did encourage you and were like, you might not be the best artist out there, but you should definitely explore your artistic side. That's a good teacher, man." Mm-hmm. Someone who encourages you to explore and learn every different aspect of your life, even if you're not going to be the greatest person at it.
Yeah, it's like I remember my algebra teacher. You may not be the best mathematician out there, but I encourage you to explore your number side.
I wish I had a math teacher like that.
I did not have a math teacher like that.
Can you imagine? I had math teachers who were like, "Anna, it's 2 + 2. I don't understand what you don't understand." I'm like, "Me either, fam. That's why we're here."
Oh, now I'm thinking of proofs in geometry.
The play?
No. Proofs. Where you had to prove that 2 + 2 = 4. At one point, I think on a test, I wrote "because it does" and turned it in and walked out.
I hated math. I'm sorry to everyone who loves math. I was just so painfully bad at it that I definitely just, my senior year of high school, I was like, I'm just going to have to marry somebody who's good at math one day.
Is that how it works? Do you?
I hope so. Some
Is that the law?
Some women chase after men with money. Some women chase after men with looks. I wanted a man who's good at math. The bar could not possibly be lower.
The bar is the floor.
The bar is through the floor. It's in the basement.
The other teachers, they don't like this radical new teaching approach.
Oh, fun in the classroom? I think not.
Neil attempts to seize his day by auditioning for a role in A Midsummer Night's Dream. And he actually gets cast as Puck. Good for cheekbones.
Good for cheekbones. Good for cheekbones. That's a big role for those of you who don't know.
It is arguably the lead.
It is the lead.
I say arguably because I've never read it.
It is the lead. More or less. I mean, I guess you could say the couples are leads too, but I'd say Puck is like the iconic role, considering I don't even remember, like, it's Hermia and Helena and Lysander and the other one. So I don't know. I like the fairy scenes better, which is like Titania and Oberon and Bottom and those are the fairies.
Knox is attempting to seize his day by seizing his crush Christine.
Oh my god, he needs to let sleeping dogs lie. If she's with somebody else, he needs to move on.
She's
sorry.
with Chet. Come on, Knox. This is the whitest couple in the world. They're the whitest love triangle. Chet, Christine, and Knox.
I hate to say it, but you're in high school. The chances of her being with you or this guy forever are slim to none.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have to just wait, buddy, pal. Don't be a poo-poo head about it. And she's, in turn, being a poo-poo head, too, by letting herself be toyed with both of these boys. She likes the attention. I'll say it. I've been there. I also liked the attention when I was younger. Look at me now, haggard.
Yeah, look at you now not liking the attention.
I hate attention. Anytime anyone talks to me, hands immediately on sight. Get away from me.
And Neil he forges his father's signature to be allowed to get cast. Because he needed permission to do that. The next day in class, everybody's reciting their poems, and he calls on Todd to recite his poem. But Todd didn't write anything. Writer's block. He's too scared. Scared to put the first word down. The outlook wasn't bright.
Dan! That is not the poems that we're talking. That is not a romantic poem.
I know no other poems.
You don't know any other poems?
That's it. Roses are red, violets are blue. The outlook wasn't bright for the Mudville Nine that day.
My mom, when I was younger, my mom read that Caroline Kennedy memorized a bunch of poems when she was growing up.
Uh-huh.
So my mom had me try to memorize a bunch of poems when I was growing up.
In hopes that you would be the next Caroline Kennedy?
I don't think so. She just really idolized, like, Jackie Onassis and, like, really, really thought and, like, really looked up to Caroline Kennedy and stuff like that. Like, she thought they were so glamorous.
She's a Catholic woman from the mid-century. That makes sense.
Yeah, is that read or does that read?
Yeah. She
definitely has jewelry from the Jackie O collection on QVC. Like, anyway.
So Mr. Keating bullies him until he comes up with a poem on the spot.
Oh, God. Another scary yet somehow sensual scene. And I don't like saying that because it's literally between a teacher and a kid.
But Todd's eyes and Cheekbone's eyes, when they meet during this scene, that's love.
I ship it.
There is love
Those
between them.
The scene where Cheekbones grabs the paper away from Todd and he's like reciting, I think he's reciting Shakespeare to him. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. That was craziness. I'm really glad that everybody else in the Dead Poets Society community also thinks that this was
the Dead
erotica.
Poets Society community?
Yes.
Is that like the Pokemon card opening community?
I don't know, because I think a lot of the people in the Dead Poets Society communities are like people who are like, nah, this is a movie about brotherhood. And then
like everybody who gets the wrong message about it and they're like, yes, that school is a good thing.
Yeah, no. And you're like, it's gay. This whole thing is so gay. And they're like, what? No, it couldn't be.
The next night, the boys go to the cave, have another meeting. Knox gets the courage to phone Christine. And she invites him to a party at the Danbury home. Nothing can go wrong at a party in a movie.
Especially not one with the public school kids. Mm-hmm. Those dang public schoolers, Dan.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that my education was paid by your tax dollars.
Dan, I went to public school too.
I'm sorry that our education was paid by tax dollars.
Yeah, look where it got us. Radical opinions about what the Dead Poets Society is about.
I think you're going to say hosting a middling podcast, so don't let anyone say that your dreams can't be achieved.
Woo! Don't let your dreams be dreams, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, thank you, Shia LaBeouf.
You're welcome.
Todd gets a gift for his birthday that is the
this part was
same
sad.
desk pen set that his parents got him last year. And then Neil and Todd share a romantic scene together.
Thank God you said it was romantic also.
It was, oh my lord, it was romantic.
You want to know, this movie was dripping with sexual tension. Mm-hmm. History will say they were friends, you know what I'm saying? History will
hates
say
lovers.
they were best friends.
Roommates.
I mean, they were roommates, and they were roommates.
It's like how on Supermarket Sweep, it was always lifelong best friends and roommates.
Yep.
For the
These are lifelong best friends and one lifelong.
One lifelong. Spoilers if you're watching along. Knox goes to Christine's party, and
Her kegger.
yeah, 50s kegger. There's a makeout corner in the basement.
There's drunk football players everywhere.
I never went
Truly
to
my worst
any
nightmare.
party in high schools. Were they like this? I messed up the
mean-
pluralization of that sentence. I didn't go to any parties in high school. It's not that I didn't go to any party in high schools. But my point still
Oh
stands.
my God, Dan. I hosted a party in high school, but it was nothing like this.
Okay.
It was a cast party, and my parents were home. Mm-hmm. My parents' friends came
I'm
over
not
to
considering
help make
cast
food.
parties
Oh.
amongst the... I mean, I'm not trying to stop your story, but I'm thinking of like high school parties, man.
Yeah, no, I never went to anything like that. The craziest thing that happened was one time when I was in high school, a friend snuck alcohol during our family New Year's Eve party, and I had a full panic attack about it. I was like, vodka? I could never. They're like, Anna, if you want some, try some. It's really not a big deal. And I was like, no.
But what if Jesus finds
like,
out?
Literally. I found out that same friend did a lot of other sketchy stuff too, and I was like, girl, she's totally normal now. But looking back, I was like, are you acting out?
This is going to really show how cool I was and am.
Oh, yeah?
But I am always very surprised to hear, like, whenever somebody tells me that they were like, yeah, no, I'll go to, like, high school parties. I'd be drinking and stuff. Like, I only drink the kind of stuff in high school. And I was like, you drank in high school?
Oh, my God.
What?
Yeah, today at work, we were talking about when we had our first sip of beer, and one of my coworkers was like, I had a Bud Light at 14. And I was like, 14?
Ugh.
I don't think I had a whole alcoholic beverage till I was in college. Full stop.
I was 19. And it was a vodka lemonade.
Ooh, was it? It wasn't at...
No, it was at my friend's apartment.
Oh, thank God. I was really worried that it was going to be at my apartment. I was like, Dan, I don't want to be the one who served you underage alcohol.
But I didn't have my first...
Parents who host lose the most, you know?
I know. I didn't have my first beer. I don't think I had a beer until I was of legal drinking age.
Beer is an acquired taste.
Not missing... Acquired tastes aren't real. That's my strongest take. They're not real. You're just lying to yourself.
I don't know, because I used to not like pistachios, and I like them now. I've acquired the taste
Do
for
you like
pistachios.
them? Or have you numbed yourself enough to them?
Well, they're sweet chili, so I just like the sweet chili part mostly.
Okay.
So I guess that's cheating.
Anyway, back to the high school party.
Anyway.
He
Back
tries
to
to
the
get...
kegger.
The football players try to get him to join in to toast his brother.
He doesn't have a brother.
He doesn't have a brother.
That we know of.
Yeah. And then he gets drunk and goes to try and kiss a passed out Christine on the couch.
I had such anxiety because in today's world, that's a no-no, honey.
Mm-hmm.
And it should have been back then, too. That's not a vibe, Knox.
No.
Do not kiss drunk, passed out people.
He was almost living up to his name of Knox Overstreet.
Yeah, he really was. He was really living up to prep school Knox for a second there. I want to like him, too. But that move, not smooth. Not smooth. Do not kiss, passed out people.
So
Mouth to mouth is acceptable if they need to be resuscitated, but only if they need to be resuscitated. Thank you. PSA.
he gets punched out by Chet, who is Christine's boyfriend.
Yes.
I don't like Chet.
No, he's your regular old F-boy. Full stop.
Yeah.
There's nothing special about Chet.
Except for the name Chet. Do you know what
He's gonna
Chet's
peak
short
in high
for?
school. Chester.
No, it's actually short for the outlook wasn't bright for the Mudville 9 to that Chet.
Dan? I'm literally going to fly out to California just so I can
Smack
murder
me.
you.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. I'm on my way.
So the next day, they go to another DPS meeting, Dead Poet Society, as it's, commonly known,
Yes,
DPS.
Department of Public Safety. Yep.
Yeah. So Charlie invited some girls to the meeting.
Weird girls, if you ask me.
They don't seem to have personalities.
Exactly. I think the characters were written as two-dimensional.
That's high praise, giving them a second dimension.
I just meant physical. And
What's the second one?
I don't know. Fine, one-dimensional. Which is worse.
Charlie signs the letter, trying to get them to accept the Dead Poet Society as an actual club at the school.
Oh, isn't Charlie the one who changes his name to... What does he call himself? It's something offensive.
It's like an arrow. I'm trying to remember what it is.
He changes his name from Charlie to... It starts with an N.
It's like lightning bolt or something.
No, he changes it to a native word or something. Or something that's supposed to sound like one.
Yeah, I can't figure it out right now, but yeah.
Narwanda? Something like that. Nawanda? It's something like that, I swear.
You're correct. I can't figure out what the name that he changes it to, though. But he does. Mm-hmm. So the headmaster has a meeting with Charlie. He's like, who else is in the Dead Poet Society?
God.
Charlie doesn't tell him, and he gets a little spanky spank.
He gets... I hated that, but I did keep yelling
You started yelling
Peggy.
peg him? What?
No, I started yelling Paddle and Peggy because that's a reference to King of the Hill when Peggy brings back the paddle unintentionally. She gets really mad and she has this paddle and she's like walking around the classroom like trying to scare the kids, and then she gets really pissed off at, I think, Joseph Gribble. She paddles him right on the butt. Anyway, watch King of the Hill too. It's my favorite.
So the headmaster talks to Keating, and he's like, I know what you're doing. And then Keating talks to Charlie, and he's like, his exact quote, sucking the marrow out of life doesn't mean choking on the bone.
I mean, he needed to hear it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
he's
he needed
correct.
to be told to chill the fuck out in not so many words.
Gone too far. Pull back. Simmer down.
Can you relax for 2 seconds? You are literally going so hard, nobody else is going to have the opportunity to have any fun. You're ruining it for us.
Speaking of ruining it for us, Red Foreman returns, finds out that Neil is in the play, and he's like, you're quitting. You gotta quit.
Yeah, he's like, I found out that from somebody that my niece was, or that their niece was doing a show with you, and I said, that is simply not possible. What is so... You know what really boggles me, Dan? And I was mentioning this to Gage, too. It kind of makes me laugh when I'm watching these shows and actors are, like, playing the role of somebody who thinks theater is stupid. Because I'm like, you're literally an actor. America, explain. Like... But I guess Gage mentioned that Kurtwood Smith said that when he went back and saw the movie at a theater or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when the movie was done, he walked out and he saw a man who had seen it, like, I'm guessing alone or something, like wiping tears out of his eyes. And it was like, because he was kind of a hard ass or something like that.
Yeah, I think the story is he saw, before he went in to see the movie, he saw him being like a disciplinarian with his family. And then after the movie, he walked out, and the guy seemed like genuinely moved because he probably saw a reflection of himself on screen and hopefully did not want that outcome.
No, if I was a parent, I most certainly would not want that outcome. Thank you.
That's good. That should be a baseline.
That's bare minimum.
Yeah. Neil talks to Keating, and Keating encourages him to tell his father how he feels. And he doesn't tell him, but then he says to Mr. Keating that he did, and his dad is letting him back in the play. Lies. Knox then goes to Christine's high school during the day to recite a poem to her and give her flowers.
Creepy school security guard should have thrown his ass out. Full stop. I get what he's trying to do. That ain't it, honey.
No.
That ain't it.
No, that's an after-school activity. Go to the sock hop. Go to the local...
Stalking a girl is an after-school activity, says Dan O'Keefe.
I mean, better than an in-school activity.
They're disturbing the education of the other students.
Yes.
By stalking.
Come on, please.
Take your stalking elsewhere, please.
Private school.
God.
So
Don't just stalk anybody in private school.
Christine goes to the private school and tells Knox that she embarrassed him, or he embarrassed her.
And she says, no, he says, no girls allowed. I'm going to get in so much trouble if we get caught.
And then they go on a date.
Yeah, he's like, well, first of all,
I hate you. I love you. I hate that. I want you.
Ooh, lay it down, Dan.
The outlook wasn't bright for the mud.
No, wait, no, Dan. No, but she's classic. She's classic high school girl. She's like, stop, but keep going. But stop, but keep going.
Stop. Why'd you stop?
Yeah, wait.
This
This isn't what I wanted. This is not what I want.
This is not what you planned?
Correct.
So they go to the whole Dead Poet Society, Mr. Keating. They all go. They watch him perform, Cheekbones perform as Puck. He's great. He
looked like he was having a great time.
He was having the time of his life.
Kind of sucks that it was a one-night only performance.
I'd rather. Any show that I'm in, I hope they're one-night only performances.
What? You don't. What if you mess up and you want another chance to do it?
It's always my first night, best performance. It's all downhill from there.
Maybe I'm just too much of a perfectionist, but I feel like I'm always like, oh crap, I should have done that. Instead, I want to try this. I want to do that. Didn't like how I did that.
No. I'm like, man, that first night, that was great. Second night, I still have to go. Darn it.
Gage thinks I'm
leave it all out on the court.
No, Troy Bolton. You know, I'm directing a performance of High School Musical this spring.
What?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, you heard it here first, folks.
I know. I was only allowed to start announcing it recently.
When? Where?
Oconomowoc, where we just did Little Shop. And it's not until May, so more details to come.
Well, I guess I'm moving back.
Welcome back, Dan. You can't be in it, though. It's for kids. But
me? I want to be Troy's dad.
Good. That's the only role that's available to adult men, so.
We were talking in an earlier episode about how I could be cast as a young dad.
You could. We could make it work.
Yeah. I had this kid
Get
when I was 8.
Game.
Well, speaking, I'm not going to make that get in the head in the game joke.
Oh, God, Daniel.
I didn't say it.
Yeah, but you implied. Oh, okay.
Neil's father shows up, and he's stern, and he does not join in the standing ovation.
But he was standing, so mixed signals.
Yeah. He gets driven out by his dad, and he's like, because of your defiance, we're pulling you out of this school. You're being sent to a military academy.
He literally didn't even let his kid, like, greet his friends. They were all trying to tell him what a great job he did. Even the teacher, they were all trying to support him and be like, we loved your show. You killed it. Like, we thought you did awesome. Mm-hmm. He was pulling him away. And it was so sad to watch.
Yeah. So after that, Neil, his last line was, "I was good. I was really good." Heartbreaking. He then
Crying
pulls
at
out...
the club, honestly.
He goes and he pulls out his father's gun and he commits suicide in his father's office. Because of... It feels like his world is closing around him.
Dan, I would just like to point out to you, this is like me being serious. I'm not trying to be funny. We're supposed to say dies of suicide.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
Dies of suicide.
We learn something new every day. I'm just trying to help you be a better mental health ally, advocate.
You know what the best way to be a mental health ally is? It's to remember that the outlook wasn't bright for the Mudville
Dan,
9 that
I
day.
swear to God on my life, how many times are you going to do this?
I'm going to beat this dead horse until it comes back to life.
No.
So the gang, the boys, the society
Squad.
are told of Neil's suicide in separate meetings.
We see a lover dying, or a lover crying.
We do. He cries in the snow.
I mean, the scene where he's slipping and sliding is just anguish filled. It's just so sad. It's heartbreaking. Really, it is.
Filmed in one take.
I mean, that reads considering Ethan Hawke was sliding all over the place, tears everywhere. Plus, how are you going to get the snow to look that perfect again? You're not. So you will really only have one chance to get it right. Unless you wait for tomorrow.
They all are questioned by the headmaster about the club in meetings.
Listen, the headmaster needs to get his head in the game. He doesn't need to be questioning them about their club. He needs to be getting them therapy. There are bigger fish to fry, because I don't mean to be dark and gloomy, but I'd be worried that where there's one, there are people who are going to act out because their friend died and feel hopeless and lost as a result of that. So maybe it's just because I'm an adult now. But that would be my concern.
I mean, it was 1959. Think of all the people that came back from World War II, from Korea, absolutely destroyed. The 70s were the peak for serial killers in America?
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting... I was just listening to a podcast about BTK.
Any sort of correlation in there?
I hope not.
I mean, a correlation meaning World War II leads to serial killers. Hopefully there's not a World War II again.
Let's just not have any serial killers or wars. That would be great.
That would be great.
I'm good with just reminiscing on the old serial killer documentaries and not creating any new ones. That's fine.
Good on reminiscing on the old wars. Dalton gets expelled because he punches Cameron for betraying them. And I'm like, yeah, you go, Blood Coco. Get expelled.
Fair.
And his defense is that he can save all their futures if they cooperate. That's Cameron's defense. Which is kind of like saying, hey, if we throw this one guy off the boat, we'll all be fine. Or if we all shoot ourselves in the foot, the gun will be out of bullets.
This really just shows the unraveling that can happen when something that drastic happens in the life of these young, volatile children. Not even these young adults. Like, some of them are probably 17 or 18 now. This is going to impact them for the rest of their life. They need therapy. I'm looking at this like it's real life. I swear to God.
I think this really shows what happens when one member of your friend group is a little piece of shit. And he's always been a piece of shit.
You always know who it's going to be. The little ginger with the crew cut is always bad news. Full stop.
Seth Green.
If they're ginger, it's a pass, but they're on thin ice. If they got a crew cut, game over.
Really insulting half of our listener base. The only demographic information I have is hair color. 50% red.
I mean, welcome.
Are you sure you're welcoming them?
Watch your step.
So Todd gets called into Nolan's office, and his parents are in there, and Nolan forces him to sign a piece of paper saying that he was in the Dead Poet Society.
Sighs heavily.
Um,
We're almost at the saddest part of the movie, Dan.
we haven't hit it yet.
I'm just kidding.
I'm sorry. The saddest part of the movie was when they threw over that perfectly fine desk set.
Yup, something like that.
And he tries to get him to sign a piece of paper saying that Keating was abusing his authority. And
There's only one abuse of authority here. We're not going to get to this finish line because I'm so heated anyway.
And he sees that Richard, Knox, Stephen, and Gerald had already signed the document. But then when he gets threatened with expulsion from the headmaster and from his parents, he signs it basically gun to his head. Doesn't have any choice.
Really had no other choice, but it's all lies. It's literally lies.
It is. They're all forced. None of that's true.
Yeah. No. People just didn't appreciate a good teacher, an encouraging teacher. That's something sought after today, like I said. Sought after in today's educational world. You want a teacher who engages the kids and brings joy to the classroom and encourages. But back then they were boring or nothing.
I mean, at that point, the students were not there to be active participants in the class. They were there to receive from the fountain of knowledge which was the teacher and the textbook.
Yeah,
there wasn't supposed to be discussions going on.
Ugh, I would have fallen asleep in class every single day.
Yeah.
I would have been passed out.
I don't think well, no, I probably would have been fine. I don't know. I would have had to do the reading.
My attention span is just so low when it comes to being lectured like that. It's so bad.
There was one lecture that I was in that I remember in high school where my teacher was talking about how the outlook wasn't bright for the Mudville 9 that day.
Dan, I swear to God on my life.
It's getting funnier for me and less funny for everyone else.
Daniel, Gage is going to complain to me about this.
Oh,
hearing
good.
From my people.
Well, tell him to come on the podcast and say it to my face.
Ooh.
Stupid boy Gage. Defend yourself.
Kimmy is talking about him right. He got so mad at me this morning because I texted him because I found out that one of the women on 1,000 Pound Sisters had a baby and she named it Gage.
And he got mad at you for that?
Yeah, because I made him watch a show and he said it was too icky.
Okay.
Those were his exact words.
So Keating gets fired and he's forced to leave without any severance, without anything.
Honestly,
off.
booty.
And he doesn't get a recommendation letter. So basically he won't be able to teach at any school because he got fired and nobody's going to want to hire some guy who got fired without any recommendation from his previous employer.
Well, sometimes you can get a job even though you got fired. It's okay. Maybe he could just move back to England and his old boss will just take him back.
Speaking from experience?
Maybe.
So...
Listen, his skills just weren't appreciated, and I know that. I know how that is. Okay.
I feel like there's a lot that you want to say about that experience.
I'm in therapy. It's fine.
So the headmaster, Nolan, he takes over as the substitute teacher until they get a new substitute to replace him.
Literally so boring.
And he's like, where were you in your book? Turn to page 394.
Turn to page... Snooze.
But
that's me in the classroom.
As they basically start over from the beginning, because they're like, Keating wasn't teaching you jack shit for the months that you had him. Got to start over.
He taught them lots of stuff. Thank you very much. I'm getting heated, Dan.
I know. So Keating enters the room to collect the rest of his stuff from his office. And as he does, he sees how he makes eye contact with Todd and the rest of the gang. And Todd is like, we were forced to do this. None of it's true. He made us sign it. We didn't believe any of the things we were saying. And Keating is like, I know. And then he shoots his head up and gets frozen in carbonite. No.
Shut up, Dan.
And Nolan orders Todd to be quiet, to stop yelling. He tells Keating to leave. And as he's about to leave, say it with me now, Oh, Captain, my Captain.
Captain.
Todd stands
The
up on the
outlook was
desk.
grim.
No, you don't. I've said it 19 times. You still got it wrong.
I couldn't remember. The outlook was poor.
No!
The outlook was bad.
No!
The outlook was grim.
The outlook wasn't bright.
Oh, fuck. Okay. I tried.
And Todd's giving Keating a farewell salute. The rest of the gang stand up on the desk, except for Cameron and a couple of other students, because Cameron's a bitch.
I feel like it's kind of funny that the "Oh Captain, My Captain" is the poem that they chose, considering they mentioned it briefly at the beginning of the film.
But they do start calling him Captain throughout the movie.
Yeah, okay, I'll let it slide this time.
And Keating is touched. He says, thank you, and then we fade out. We don't even get a Todd went on to be ambassador to England in 1994.
The movie isn't a rom-com from the thousands, Dan.
I know that Remember the Titans is based on a true story,
shoot.
loosely based on a true story, but they do that in like sports movies. And I know this isn't a sports movie, but they do play soccer in it at one point, so it counts.
Yup.
And that's Dead Poet Society. Fade out from
Woo! We made it.
there. This was the first time I'd seen it. First time you'd seen it.
Mm-hmm, that's correct.
I'm with you. Not what I expected.
I was a little upset because I was on the phone with my dad and I was telling him about my day. And he goes, well, Mom said you were watching a movie. What movie are you watching? And I said, I am watching Dead Poet Society. And he goes, oh. So that's where I was at. Dan, I literally went into this thinking the sad part was that the teacher gets fired. And I saw it coming from a mile away. I was like, he's going to die. There's going to be a death here. There's going to be a death in the family.
I didn't see the death coming.
Oh, I predicted it. As soon as he got home from the play, I was like,
I mean, once it
over.
got to that point, I kind of knew what was going to happen. But before that, I was like, I don't know, maybe it's going to be, Red turns.
no, Red never turns.
No.
Red's never turned in his life.
He sees his son acting and thinks he's going to become a pinko commie. Can't have that.
Oh,
Got to send him to
God.
military school.
No.
Is
Acting. It's for communists.
Is Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey a spiritual sequel to this film? In
No.
only the threat of Bill being sent to military, or Ted being sent to military school?
I suppose. Also, I was thinking of Bill and Ted today because I had Waterloo stuck in my head, and it reminded me of how that's the name of the water park that Napoleon goes to. And it's funny because Napoleon. Waterloo.
So, yeah, now that we've gone through the movie, give me your thoughts. Aside from the fact that it's sad.
It's sad and it's gay. I know I've said that. I don't. Again,
This is not
I don't want anyone
derogatory.
coming for me. It's not derogatory. I straight up mean that this is a homoerotic film.
I mean, I agree.
It was, well, it's a coming of age tale for the gays. And I think, there's just a lot. Like, all jokes aside, it's a nice, I understand why they show it, or at least parts of it, in school a lot.
Yeah.
I think today it would be kind of harder to show just because with that death, I feel like that would be a lot heavier now than it might have been in the past. It's always been heavier, but you know what I mean? Like, that's a topic that more people talk about openly, so I feel like that might be a little bit more delicate than in the past. You're just like, have your parents sign this permission slip because we're going to watch a movie where a teen dies. So,
yeah.
I was talking to Gage about it. We were kind of laughing about how, like, he watched it in one of his high school English classes, like, the whole movie.
Yeah.
And I had only seen part of it in, like, an 8th grade English class.
Seems a little early.
Yeah, we only watched the end.
Okay.
So it's not like we were watching it at any other point, because it is definitely inappropriate for kids of a certain age. High schoolers, I feel like it's okay, but I feel like even like sophomore and under, you might be a little too young just because the subject matter is heavy.
I don't know. I think it's fine for height. I think because it's. I mean, I'm also of the belief that if it's a movie about your age group, it's probably fine.
True. I guess. I mean, I oftentimes forget that, like, when I was in high school and actual high school kids themselves, like, actually see a lot of messed up crap just because kids think they're adults and they start doing adult things that they shouldn't be doing. And
like
so
drinking and having parties and staying out past 9.
Yes, those are the things that I was referencing. That is correct.
In that order.
But you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like when I accidentally swear in front of a teen and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, you're a kid. I shouldn't have done that. And they're like, I have heard worse at school. And
Fuck
I'm
you
like,
mean, bitch? I swear all the time.
You know, and I'm like, but I'm older than you. I don't know. It just feels like it's a good movie, but I'm glad I didn't watch it when I was younger because I don't think I would have really understood the real depth of it.
Yeah. There were other English classes in my high school that watched this, like in full and everything. I didn't in any of my English classes. So I was with you. I thought the sad part was when he got fired, and I thought that was in the middle of the movie or something.
Well, because people always just describe it. They're like, what's this movie about? It's about a professor who gets fired and all the kids love him.
Yeah.
That's literally like the 2-sentence description.
But that's not what it's about. It's about friendship.
No.
It's about growing up. It's about discovering who you are, discovering how you can seize the day and suck the marrow out of life without choking on the bone.
See, even that was kind of beautiful, Dan.
Thank you. It was quotes.
I know. But there's a lot going on internally. There's a lot going on internally with this whole episode.
But I think that this I'm not going to say this is an original thing. It is very paint by numbers kind of
The movie content?
the movie content, the characters.
Yeah.
Like none of this is in theory surprising. None of this is groundbreaking. All of this is ground that has been tread time and time again.
The grass is worn away.
Yeah, there's a desire path that people are walking on. It's just dirt. But I'm going to quote a review from Twitter user @WillemDebro of this film.
That's not someone we know,
No,
is it?
it is not.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure because that felt like, I don't know who, but that feels like the username of someone we would have known.
I know. But their review is, can't believe these cookie cutter white boys and their manic pixie dream teacher got me crying in the club right now.
Literally!
And absolutely correct.
I was sitting here and I was like, ugh, I'm confused. Everybody looks the same. And Gage goes, it's because they're all white boys with brown hair. And I yelled. I was like, true. That's why I was calling all of them by their facial features. I was like, you, Ginger with a crew cut. You, cheekbones. You,
Yeah.
Ethan Hawke.
One guy who is the son of the guy from Law and Order. One of the tall guys who has like 2 lines. He's Sam Watterson's son, who's on Law and Order and The Newsroom and Grace and Frankie. To let you know.
Oy vey.
I know. Some trivia.
Yes.
The cast, the student cast, they all lived together. They all lived in like one room during filming.
That's fair. They were probably like, what, 17 to 18?
Yeah.
19?
And they filmed it in order so they could bond more through filming and get
Oh,
close
great.
as a
So
group.
when the character actually died and had to leave the set, they were probably sad.
Yeah, they kept him off set after they filmed that
That's
scene.
so mean. I would feel, if I was that actor, I'd be like, wait, I miss my friends.
The scene where Todd cries in the snow was shot in one take. It was originally planned to be interior, but the director thought it would look better in snow, and
I think it did. It looked beautiful.
Liam Neeson was originally cast as Keating, but he was recast when Peter Weir came on to direct, because the original director was Jeff Canu. I don't know how to pronounce it. He was the editor of Ordinary People, and he directed Revenge of the Nerds. That's the movie I recognize of his. He also directed 3 episodes of Touched by an Angel, which I'm sure
never watched her.
Your mom would be happy to know.
Thank you, Dan. I'm sure she would be.
Ethan Hawke's first impression of Peter Weir, the director, he's Australian. His first impression was that he talks funny, because he has an Australian accent.
I mean, yeah.
Robin Williams was going through a divorce while filming.
Oh.
Yeah. And Norman Lloyd recalled that he was in a somber mood.
Well, yeah, I mean, even if you don't love the person anymore, it's probably sad.
And the full "Oh Captain, My Captain" poem
it's about Abraham Lincoln.
I'm going to read it to you.
No! Okay.
"Oh Captain, my Captain, our fearful trip is done. The ship has weathered every rack, the prize we sought is won. The port is near, the bells I hear, the people all exulting, while follow eyes the steady keel, the vessel grim and daring. But oh heart, 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 oh bleeding drops of red, where on the deck my captain lies, fallen cold and dead. Oh Captain, my Captain, rise up and hear the bells. Rise up, for you the flag is flung, for you the bugle trills, for you bouquets and ribboned wreaths, for you the shores a crowding. For you they call the swaying mass, their eager faces turning. Here, Captain, dear father, this arm beneath your head. It is some dream that on the deck you've fallen cold and dead. My captain does not answer. His lips are pale and still. My father does not feel my arm. He has no pulse nor will. The ship is anchored safe and sound, its voyage closed and done. From fearful trip the victor ship comes in with object won. Exalt, O shores, and ring, O bells, but I with mournful tread walk the deck my captain lies, fallen cold and dead."
That was fucking depressing, Dan.
The outlook wasn't bright for the Mudville 9 that day.
No. Would you like to hear a limerick I wrote when I was in 5th grade that I, for some reason, still have memorized?
I would love to.
There once was a penguin named Jack. He liked that his feathers were black. One day they fell out, and he gave out a shout, for he feared they would never grow back.
Oh, that's cute.
Thank you.
When I was a kid, my brother would always say, there once was a man from Nantucket who kept a frog in a bucket. He woke up at night, or he something at night, something with fright, and then he said, "Oh, froggy," and I didn't get it. I didn't understand what the joke was, and I just laughed. I just laughed because I wanted to fit in.
That's not how limericks work.
The joke is that it ends with "fuck it."
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he says, "Oh, froggy," as like a subversion.
Oh,
I was 9,
okay.
and I was like, "Ha, frogs!"
I'm going to stick with my penguin poem.
Yeah, yours is better.
Thank you. This is me snapping for myself.
Oh. I'm giving it up.
Thank you. Sip your cappuccinos while I recite my limerick about a penguin.
Would this movie be better, worse, or the same with Jonathan Taylor Thomas as Todd? Cheekbones? I don't know. You pick.
Love him, but there's no room for him here.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. In's full.
He's too snarky. None of these kids are all sincere. They're all genuine.
Yeah, they really are sheltered private school kids.
Yes.
Like, full stop. I just don't think there's room for Jonathan Taylor Thomas in this movie.
No, he'd be the edgy outsider coming in.
Yeah, and I feel like it's hard to say that because even though Robin Williams is a comedic actor, he wasn't really comedic in this movie. He was more like lovable in a normal way, in an approachable way that like a normal person might be like, oh, he's kind of funny, but he's also just like trying to have a good time, and he's really passionate about this subject, and I just don't think there's room for any real over-the-top, funny, snarky comments or comedy in this movie.
The one scene where Robin Williams started doing impressions of people, it reminded me, to call back to a movie that we recently talked about, of the scene in It Chapter 2 when Bill Hader does his Jabba the Hutt impression.
I love the Jabba the Hutt impression.
But yeah, I agree. I don't think JTT would be a strong fit. And I also don't think that George Clooney would fit in very well, because he would have to be Keating or the dad.
No, he's too handsome.
He's too handsome. He's too lovable to be Red Foreman. And he's too handsome to be Robin Williams. The kids would all be in love with him instead of each other.
True, and I think we really need to focus on the love of friendship and just the fact that they definitely were in love with each other.
Yeah. So, on a scale of 1 to 5 kisses with the homies, what do you give this movie?
4 kisses with the homies. Four kisses before going to bed with the homies. So it's just like a hair more meaningful than just like a goodbye.
Yeah, it's like a think of me while you sleep.
I liked it. I liked it a lot more than I thought I was going to. Long movies can oftentimes be hard for me just because I do have the attention span of a goldfish.
Yes.
But I did really like this movie. I think if it was being retold today, there would definitely be some changes to the plot. There would definitely be a romantic storyline. There would definitely be more focus on probably just cheekbones.
Yeah.
I feel like he's the lead, and Gage and I were discussing, like, it felt like there were just a lot of storylines going on at some points.
It did feel kind of muddled in the middle.
Yeah. There's some points, like, the whole thing with Knox, we don't really need. Like, we don't need to meet the girl that he's pining over. Like, it could just be like, oh, like, I don't know. I don't want to find a way.
It's good to add a woman into the movie in general. But
otherwise it's a real sausage fest.
She doesn't matter to the story that they're telling, which is the story of the boys.
Her whole role is to be his love interest, and that's it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like...
He already has a love interest. One of the boys.
The squad. The squad's in love, so...
I was joking, but like some of the squad is in love with each other, whatever. But it's also like fraternal love and like friendship love, which could be the love story there, which I think is the love story they meant to tell, and then they just had the homoerotic undertones.
It was the Shakespeare for me. I mean, maybe you are out here reciting Shakespeare with the homies, but not Midsummer. Not Midsummer.
I recite Shakespeare with the homies constantly.
I mean, Gage has gotten sick of me going, but
soft.
Yeah, but soft. What light through
yonder window breaks?
No. Romeo, Romeo, where the hell have you been, Loca? That's what it was. I was thinking of the wrong scene.
Yeah, I love that. Is that in the first folio?
I'm ignoring you.
Okay. I'm agreeing with your rating now. I'm giving it a 4.
I mean, like, recite what you want with the homies, you know?
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion.
But yeah, I am also giving it a 4. It's fun. It's kind of, like I said before, it's kind of treading on well-tread territory. It's nothing. It's very well done, but it's nothing groundbreaking.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if we were watching it in 1989 when it came out, we'd be thinking differently, though. You know?
Yeah, this is the hindsight of 32 years.
Yeah, this movie is old enough to have kids, and
it's almost old enough to run for president.
Yeah, so maybe back then the focus of these kids, maybe it was a little bit more groundbreaking, but now I feel like we get a lot of stories about love and friendship and platonic love and stuff.
If this was made now, I feel like it would end up with all the kids being way too edgy, like Riverdale.
Stop! Don't bring her into this. She's going through something.
Are they still in, like, the Korean War?
I literally have no idea. Gage and I haven't watched Riverdale since we were doing our show. We just would, like, go to rehearsal and come home and go to bed. So we just finished watching What We Do in the Shadows. We're finishing You right now. Then we'll probably do Riverdale.
It's really
Squid
important
Games,
that you
then
know that You
Riverdale.
is a show when you say that. We're finishing You.
Oh, sorry. We're finishing the acclaimed Netflix program You, starring Penn Badgley and
Teller.
Penn Teller and Victoria Pedretti. Today's episode was saucy.
Oh, I believe it. We're really getting off topic at the end of this episode. Just going through
Anyway.
what we're watching. I'm kind of watching a Korean romantic drama.
Everybody's been talking about K-dramas. Maybe I should watch one. I'm watching Welcome to Plathville, too, though, and that's a reality TV show.
Uh-huh. Yeah, oh, I know about that. Anna loves that show.
I love Welcome to Plathville. I'll be texting her.
Oh my gosh, you don't know how happy she'll be.
Tell her I'll be reaching out.
I'm wrapping this up now.
Okay.
We're done. If you like the show, you can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/inconclusion, or follow us on social media on Facebook and Twitter @andinconclusion, on Instagram @inconclusion podcast. I'm not forgetting about you. Don't worry.
I'm just nodding my head.
If you want to find me, I am on Twitter @DanO'Keefe86. I am on TikTok @NotDanO'Keefe. Anna.
Dan.
Race Car Auto.
No. One of my coworkers was trying to come up with a new nickname for me today, and I felt so bad because he'd be like, has anybody ever called you this? And I'd be like, yup. He'd be like, what about this? And I'd be like, yup. And then he's like, I'm going to have to come up with something palindrome themed. And I was like, if he comes out here, call me Anna Race Car or Anna Bob.
Anna, go hang a salami, I'm a lasagna hog Auto.
Yup.
Where can they find you?
Yep. You can find me on Instagram at AutomusPrime818, or you can find me on Twitter at AutobotsRollOut, capital O for Auto, capital B for Bots, capital R for Roll, and the O in Roll and the O in Out are zeros.
Hot dog! We will be back next week talking about Good Will Hunting. So did you
I'm
cry?
kind of excited.
You ready to cry again? But this time
Why
with
do you keep doing this to me?
hotter Matt Damon.
Yes, he's so fine in this movie. I have not seen it the whole way through. I know it's about math, but I know Matt Damon looks good in this movie.
It is about math the same way that High School Musical is about acting. It's a tertiary
not?
feature.
Okay, I was worried that you were going to have me sitting in on some fucking math
lectures.
movie, and I was going to be ripping my eyeballs out.
No, it's about math as much as that gif of The Hangover is about math. Of the
Okay.
equations flying around Zach Galifianakis' head.
There's me in every math class I've ever had.
So we'll be back next week with Good Will Hunting. In the meantime, everybody stay safe, have fun, and get vaccinated. Bye-bye.
Bye.
The outlook wasn't bright for the Mudville 9.
Dan, no, Dan. I saw Goody Dan talking with the devil.
A Creative Land podcast.